Today I fucked up by starting an illegal money laundering and gambling ring at my high school. This all started when I was in my second last year of high school. The TIFU happened towards the end of the semester. Just an FYI, at the time, I never knew that gambling outside of casinos was illegal. So as an elective, I took a business class where we learn about entrepreneurship, and for the semester's project create a business plan, product or service, and sell it in the cafeteria all day every Thursday until the end of the semester. Me, along with my group, decided to bring 2 Wii consoles, and bring Super Smash Bros. To let students play in the cafeteria for $2. All money made would be taken and given to charity of our class choice. The day before we got to sell our products in the cafeteria, our school admins gave us a policy that to use the cafeteria, we had to rent it out for $200, which would be deducted from our revenue at the end of the year. If you could not break even, then you yourself had to pay for the use of the safe from your own pocket. All money taken from rent would be taken by the school and used for the athletic and art programs. I thought that it was absolutely scummy to do something like that the day before we start a project. Students in our class were freaking out because to at least get an A on the project, you have to meet a quota of at least $200 made after expenses. So many of us students had to change our business plan, which our teacher used as a lesson about how the market is always changing, so be prepared or some shit like that. I proposed to my group that in order to make more money, we should hold tournaments, selling for $4, we'd take half of that money, and put the rest of the money into a pool for the tournament winner to take. On the first day of selling, we made $160, the game was selling like hotcakes. Unlike other groups, who had to waste money on expenses to sell their products, we were literally running at zero cost, and were able to sell twice as fast as any group. Next Thursday we implemented a new strategy. Since we had 2 Zs, we used one to play regular game matches for $2 to record on our profits. You had to record students' ID and signatures each time they bought a product, and then hold what I now know as wagering tournament matches and allow people to bet as much money as they wanted. The winner would get double of what they paid. To get around paying double to tournament winners, we hired this legit pro Super Smash Bros. Dude, who used a GameCube controller. The idea was to pretend to get the pro player to wager $20, the money was from our profits, so that people would try and match the amount of money he put in. He'd talk so much trash, and put in so much money, that we literally had lineups so that people could play against the champ. To give you an idea of what was happening, someone paid $30 in wager, made his way all the way up to play against the champ, lost, and basically lost $30. We made so much money that day, we actually split the money between us 4 group members equally to pocket. We still had so much that we spent it on making an actual stand for our station. We bought a whiteboard to display every tournament winner of every tournament played. Every day people would bring their own remotes to play against this dude, and he'd win almost every time. The games he lost, he'd just double down and win the money back for us. The trade-off for the pro was a crowd to play in front of, and the ability to play as many games as he wanted. It was exciting for people to just watch. We'd always have a decent crowd of people watching. We did this for about 2 months. With all the extra money we weren't pocketing, I tried to make it look as money made for the group. We bought Wii skins, and button grips for controllers for students to buy as to make that money look as if it was earned legitimately. I knew that it was somewhat wrong to be laundering money like that, but our group was set on that A+, we were making good money for ourselves, and I'm 99% sure none of us knew that gambling itself was illegal, because none of us spoke up. Our teacher praised us for transitioning our business plan to make more money by selling remote skins and grips, which she said was very innovative of us. Used all the money we were making to start buying new clothes, shoes, and stuff for myself, so did my group members. Our teacher started getting suspicious of this because, according to her, she was tipped off that we were making much more money than we should be. She questioned where we got the money to buy Wii remote skins and button grips. That's when shit really hit the fan. The head of the business department launched a full-on investigation into our group. They found out about our secret wagering matches. They also found out about how we were laundering money to be part of profits in our spreadsheet. A bunch of students came forward tattling on the pro player we basically hired to fix matches so that we'd earn more money. I didn't even realize how bad it all sounded until our teacher said all of it out loud. A group was taken to the office and were told how serious what we did was. It could even result in expulsion. One of my group members actually cried her eyes out, saying she had no idea how it even got out of hand like this. Which is true. I didn't realize how carried away we had gotten until we were slapped with the facts. We had in-school suspension for 3 days, and were ultimately out of school suspended for 3 days. I think the only reason they didn't go farther is because we never admitted to pocketing money that we laundered or the money we pocketed from the wager matches, and since money made off of these factors were never officially documented, they weren't able to really pin evidence on us. When I got back to school, they cancelled the project altogether, and instead of the project, we had a test in place of it. Everyone in our class was pissed off at us, and the majority of the school pretty much looked down on our group for the remainder of my HS career. I was only remembered as the POSCON man who stole money from students for personal gain. Someone even made an IG page with the username Future White Collar Criminals, and had my face and everyone involved in the scandal posted on it. Too long didn't read, / Started a business project in the SEF where we let people play Super Smash Bros. On Wii for $2 a game. Turned into a gambling ring, started match fixing, and money laundering. Ultimately suspended and shunned by the entire school. That was stupid of the school. 50% of businesses go bankrupt in the first year, and they basically all lose money in their first year, and you were all high schoolers with no experience. Adding an extra expense was just a kick in the teeth. I say malicious compliance, well done. If they were gonna go with the changing market conditions metaphor, you might as well go with the barely legal scheme that you get a slap on the wrist for. The school's big mistake is having a project where students are competing with real money. I'm surprised that parents didn't get the shit shut down before it started. Especially with that $200 rental fee for the cafeteria. Hold up, since when was a game of skill considered gambling? Even with card games, which are skill-based, there is a good bit of chance involved. Unless I missed where people are betting on others' outcomes. Would your school kick you out for betting you could beat someone in a foot race? Hell, I'd pay money to race against Usain Bolt. I'd lose, but that's not the point. Actually said that when we were getting chewed out. SSB isn't a game of chance, it's skill. They still considered it gambling, haha. Serves the school right, charging kids $200 to rent a space they already occupy daily for free. Fuck that. Haha, as opposed to illegal high school money laundering and gambling ring. You sir will either make a great mob boss or politician. This was badass. Today I fucked up by breaking lockdown and accepting a blowjob from an older woman. Let me start by saying this isn't a story of happened a few years back. This is happening now, and it's 2 AM where I'm from. So our night started a text from my mate Pete. Pete found a sneaky poo that's local and is open during lockdown. Never want to turn an opportunity down, and having been stuck indoors the last few weeks, I'm all up for taking risks. So around 10 PM we sneak out and head to this pub only to find it's full. Now if you've ever seen a British pub, you'll know we don't drink to get social, we drink to get pissed. As the hours pass, more people come and go, but this one bird stayed most the night and kept eyeing me up. After a few beers I plucked up the courage to go over and chat to her. No social distancing in this pub. Before I carry on, after several weeks on lockdown my balls are blue and anything with a pulse is fair game. She was a decent bird, probably early 50s, and I'm a man in need and open to an older woman, so we make small talk and the obvious coronavirus talk comes up. She comments how I don't have a cough or that my mate Pete doesn't have one either. I tell her nope, fit as a fiddle. He tells me she has a little cough but not to worry as it's not the virus. I forget how long we stood chatting and drinking, but as things were wrapping up IT was at this point things for blurry, and all I remember were the words blowjob, come to mine, bring Pete. Taxi ride a blur and we get back to her house. Nice gaff, and she tells us looks lads, I've got a 5-year-old so we'll have to do it in the front room. It's his birthday tomorrow and I don't want to wake home. Now I could have walked out but blue balls and all that, so I agree. We go in the front room and there's boxes and boxes of balloons. I asked what's all this about? It was then she dropped the news. She said she had asked me and Pete to come back to help blow up the 5,000 balloons ready for her son's birthday tomorrow, and that she couldn't do it because of her chesty cough and said it needs to be done by the morning. She's gone to bed. I'm sat here now and we're about 153 balloons in and I'm not sure to go home or not. Too long didn't read. Went to a local pub, got offered a blowjob, sat at her house about to disappoint her son while getting lightheaded. I like that her pickup line was that you have no visible signs of illness. Times are hard. I'm still worried about her cough. And how good will the blowjob be if her breath capacity is compromised anyway? Looks like you and Pete are the only ones blowing tonight. I think in your state you've greatly misunderstood who was to be doing the blowing here. There's no reward coming for this. Sounds like you definitely have a blowjob with all those balloons. Am I in r/jokes? Today I fucked up by wanting to have an sgasm, NSFW. I've been married for almost a decade and sex with my wife has become rather stale, so I started looking into male sex toys. I found a thing on eBay that goes on your Johnson and vibrates the fuck out of it, which is nice, but the orgasm is lacking. So I started finding things to stimulate the elusive male G-spot and putting them in my ass. Some were too big, some too small, some too long and some too short. Until I found the one. It seemed perfect, so I had a few sessions playing with it, but nothing spectacular. Yet here comes the fuck up. My wife doesn't know about my adventures. She isn't very open-minded when it comes to these things, so I keep the toys hidden. Well, yesterday I was off work and decided to really go at it. To relax first, this is important for a virgin asshole, I smoked a fat doobie. Then I got out the man-meat vibrator to keep my hands free for the prostate stimulator toy. The end result was simply spectacular, leaving me in a daze. Daze that resulted in me leaving a lot of strange-looking contraptions laying on the sink to dry and a half-empty bottle of lube. A daze that ended in a nap so deep I never heard the garage door open. She figured out the Johnson juicer pretty quick but was baffled by the brown eye opener. If you've never seen one, it looks like it could be used for lady parts, and that's what she thought it was, a toy for her. She thought I was trying to not so subtly bring toys into our sex life, and I wanted to let her believe that, but I couldn't let her use something that has walked down the street where shit lives. I've never before seen the look on her face when I explained everything. 24 hours later and she still seems to be in some sort of shock. She doesn't seem mad, she just seems like she can't process it. I suspect me and those toys will be getting to know each other a lot better. Too long didn't read. Hell bent on having an sgasm, had an sgasm, wife will probably banish me to Brown Town. Some were too big, some were too small, and some were just right. Goldilocks 2019. Goldilocks. FTFY. You need to have a frank discussion about everything. The staleness, the ass play, the everything. It's way more fun with everyone on the same page, and she probably feels like she's not enough or that you secretly gay, which will just put way more stress on everything, and no one needs that. I agree, inviting Frank to share your marriage bed would really spice things up. Explain to her what you're into, offer to indulge her fantasy kinks too. With any luck she'll be pegging you by Christmas. As a married lady, 13 years, I say talk to your wife. Trust me, the sex gets stale for everyone. Also, just because she needs time to process doesn't mean she is turned off. This could be the beginning of your second honeymoon if you play this right. Have a frank discussion about needs and wants for both parties and see what happens. Best of luck. What's this Johnson vibrator? Asking for a friend. A vibrator for the penis. Could be a cock ring with a vibrating bullet in it, or could be a full-sized dildo that shakes.